Hello and welcome to the Betfred Rugby League Podcast, and I've got a legend of the game alongside me, Paul Sculthorpe. Scully, only one place to start. The big news this week, Josh Charnley is back in Rugby League.
Yes, I think it's a great thing for the game. Obviously, Josh is a big name in Rugby League, and great capture for Warrington. Quality player, and obviously went out on a high in the grand final with Wigan actually scoring against Warrington.
Well, let's just remind ourselves of the last time he appeared in a Rugby League shirt.
Matty Smith quickly in a dummy half, gets the ball back to Sarginson. Sarginson to the corner for Charnley. Terrible bounce, but he gets it down.
He's got it down. He'll give this to Robert Hicks. No two ways about that. They're celebrating, and there he points. What a comeback, and what a beautiful kick.
So that was his last game for Wigan. He scored the winning try and he won the grand final.
Yes, as you say, an outstanding player, and he tried, to be fair to Josh, he tried his hand at rugby union. It could have been a great move for him. It wasn't to be, but great to see him back in league.
Obviously a big boost for Warrington.
It is a big boost for Warrington. I think they need it at the moment as well, certainly on attack. And Josh is a big, powerful lad as well, and certainly knows how to finish those tries. So a great capture for them.
You've obviously got an interesting England setup as well, so hopefully be back in that as well.
Yeah, Josh is only 25, 26, so there's certainly got time on his hands as well, and get his feel back in rugby league, and I'm sure he'll be trying to impress and get himself back in the England setup.
Okay, you might want to look away now because we're going to look back at the game of last week. It was St Helens versus Leeds.
Parcell, short ball to Mullally. Mullally gets away and will score. Lomax to Barber, Ben Barber. Here goes Parcell. Parcell, he's got the ball down. Mac Parcell has scored for the Rhinos.
So well done to Rhinos, that was a big performance. Right then, with your Saints hat on, what went wrong?
It was a disappointing performance, disappointing team performance, and very, very scrappy. I thought it was a scrappy game from both sides really, but certainly Saints, scrappy with the ball and just put themselves under pressure really.
Obviously credit to Leeds though.
All credit to Leeds. Talk about obviously Saints going into this game undefeated, but Leeds are always a team, as we've seen in previous years and certainly in grand finals, they're a team on the big day that turn up and play, and they certainly did that. I thought Matt Parcell in particular for Leeds was outstanding, and all credit to Leeds for the win.
Leeds feature in the big game of this round as well. They're at home to Castleford. Of course, they beat Castleford in the grand final, but until the grand final, Castleford had the hold over Leeds, didn't they?
They did. They had some great wins over Leeds last year, and a big one at the Mendo's Jungle as well. And obviously Leeds certainly took bragging rights and won it on the big day in the grand final. But this is going to be a great occasion as well. Obviously, the game's moved to Ellen Road as well, which I believe they're hoping to attract one of the biggest attendances in Super League. So it's going to be a great game. Two great sides, and expect a big game.
We talk about tests. I think this is a real test for Castleford because after that poor start, they won the last three on the bounce. So to go to Ellen Road now is a real task for Darryl Powell and his team.
It certainly is. They're playing the current champions, and they're playing obviously a team who will be riding high on the back of that win last week against St Helen. So it is a massive test for whereabouts Castleford are.
Who do you fancy?
I fancy Leeds. I just think they've got that knack of knowing how to win big games, and this is a big game. And said there's some players in that Leeds setup. Brad Singleton, one we mention regular now. Matt Parcell, Joel Moon, some outstanding players in good form.
Well, that's live on Sky on Friday night. Should be a cracker. Live on Sky on Thursday night is Widnes versus Salford. Let's hear from the Widnes coach, Dennis Betts.
They'll be tough to beat. They always are. They seem to have the wood on us at the moment. Last couple of years, I think the first few years we had a bit of a rub on them, and then the last couple of years they've had a bit of a rub on us. So hopefully we can turn that around on Thursday night. I think when you look at Tompkins and the hooker and Robert Louis and Velds and Johnson on the wings, it's a dangerous side. Josh Jones is a very dangerous forward. Walaraki's still got something in his legs, and like Tazi and Kopchak are really strong forwards, and it's a good side. Like I say, if they stay healthy and they can keep people on the field, they're a good-looking side. Like I say, Robert Louis can open up a side out of nothing. He's a real dangerous rugby league player.
So that's live on Sky on Thursday night. Because it's live on Sky, we're double delighted hat-trick Evan and all first try scorer bets. This is a game Widnes have got to win, haven't they? They've got to win the home games.
They certainly do, and certainly against, no disrespect, the likes of Salford, where they'll have pinpointed these games as games they must win. Talk about Widnes and the quality that they've shown already this year. They've only won 2 of 6 games, but the +8 on the points difference. So it shows that when they have lost, they've only lost by a small margin of points and come up with some good performances. Salford, they're going to hit Salford where. They must obviously went back to a bit of form last week. A great win over Hull FC. So great 2 points for Salford, and they'll be going to Widnes expecting to turn out a similar performance.
And how big a blow is it to lose Gareth O'Brien for Salford?
Yeah, I think it's a massive loss for Salford. They've not got the biggest squad in the world anyway, and he was one of their key strike players, and a lot went through Gareth O'Brien. So a massive loss to them. Obviously moving on to the Toronto Wolfpack.
And of course, Salford fans love Gareth O'Brien for that £1 million game. What a performance he put in that day. Quite incredible rugby. Prediction time then for Widnes Salford? I'm going to go for a Widnes win. I have seen some quality in Widnes this year, and obviously home advantage on the pitch is on that high pitch is something that Widnes are more used to than anybody, any visitors in town. So I'm going to go for. I think it's going to be a very, very close game, but I'm going to go for a Widnes win. Okay, let's turn our attention to St Helens. They're playing Hull KR, obviously looking to bounce back after that defeat to Leeds. Let's hear from their coach, Justin Holbrook.
Yeah, well, they did a great job, didn't they? As you said, to even just to go to Huddersfield, we played there 3 weeks earlier in a real tough game there, and then Hull were good enough to go there and blow them away. So, look, they get through their sets really well. And obviously having Denny Maguire there to orchestrate the plays, experienced half there, so they're doing a lot off him, and he's doing a really good job with a fairly young side.
Justin Holbrook talking to Betfred TV. Look, let's be honest, I know you're biased. Saints were the form team until last week, but you're going to get knocks in a Super League season because it's a long season. It's about how you react and how you pick yourselves up, isn't it?
Exactly, and I'm sure there's not too much negative talk in Saints this week. That Justin will be saying, you wasn't good enough on the day. We know what we're capable of and put things right this week, and I'm sure the Saints boys will want to come back with a great performance up at Hull. It's a tough place to go, and it's not the best hunting ground for Saints in previous years. I know I've been there with the team, and it's a tough place to go. So they've got to be on the game.
But do you fancy them?
I do fancy Saints. I think if they hit the form that there was previous to the Leeds game, and go in there and be clinical in the job that they should do, I think they'll be too good for Hull KR.
Let's round up the other fixtures. Hull obviously beaten by Salford, and Catalans are just having a poor season, aren't they?
Yeah, Catalans, it's getting embarrassing now, their performance. I mean, 26-0 against Warrington in France is just not good enough, and I just can't see things changing quickly.
Warrington, Wakefield, obviously Warrington boosted by the news of Josh Charnley, but Wakefield just keep doing it, don't they?
They do, and there was 2-0 up for 27 minutes until their game got called off against Widnes, obviously with the snow. But Wakefield again, in great form this year, and it'll be a tough game for Warrington. Obviously Warrington, a lot better performance, in France, 26-0, a bit more clinical on attack, and some of their key players standing up. Ben Murdoch-Masilla, I thought he had a good game in France, got over for a couple of tries, and they need their key performers and big signings this year to really start playing now.
And finally, Wigan versus Huddersfield.
Yes, Wigan, obviously, they're another team who had a week off last week. Their game got cancelled against Castleford. Coming up against Huddersfield, who were so inconsistent. I mean, a big defeat at Hull KR. I'm sure that one that Rick Stone wants to forget about, because that was an awful performance.
We're obviously talking the Betfred Super League, but we did have the Challenge Cup draw this week as well. A standout game for me has got to be Division 1 York City Knights versus Catalan Dragons, and at the moment you'd fancy playing the Catalan Dragons at home, wouldn't you?
You certainly would, and I think York will be quietly confident going into that. No, it is a challenge playing against a Super League side, and the Catalan Dragons on paper, you look at some of their players, Greg Bird and co. but they're just not performing. So I mean, York will fancy themselves in it, and it's a great draw for York.
Okay, that's later on in April. Thanks so much to Scully. We're back next week when we start talking about the Easter campaign, and it's brutal for the rugby league sides as well. So remember, please, if you're having a bet on the rugby, just keep it fun, gamble responsibly, enjoy the action.